Hello, hello, and welcome everyone. My name is Francisco Cantu, and I am here with my sister Laura Cantu, and I am excited to be here on this college football final night championship game. Monday, what day is today? January the 8th. Yes, I'm excited to be here with you all to have hopefully another productive conversation like we do every week. We should be live on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube, ready to talk about topics that are relevant to the world of college admissions. What we will be discussing today will be pertinent to parents, particularly those of you who are looking for the next steps after having filled out the FAFSA. That is what we're going to be focusing mostly on today. We're going to be talking about next steps. What are some updates from what has happened since we saw you last week? We are going to have a discussion about the best practices to make sure that you don't leave any money on the table when it comes to getting your financial aid award package. And at the end, we're going to be engaging with you all. We're going to be answering some questions. So let us know. Let's get the ball starting with those interactions because number one, it helps us grow and it helps the live stream get recommended to other people. So if you can go ahead and comment where you are watching from and whether you are a parent or a student, that helps us once again for this live stream to be pushed and recommended to people who have similar profiles to yours. And then, that grows. We get to engage with more people. And then the content that we share, which hopefully, again, is all value to you all, can be, again, reached or can be viewed by more people. So it helps us grow, but also it helps more parents not leave money on the table, make sure that their kids are well set up for the road to college. And again, I think that's mutually beneficial. So that's a little bit about what we are going to be discussing today.
Yes.
So
Thank you.
Laura, if you want to go ahead.
Thank you so much for joining us today. As we discuss, well, if you were able to fill out the FAFSA, what are the next steps to, do after completing this form? I know a lot of people haven't been able to complete it. We have been getting comments. We have been getting a lot of, messages. Members of Best College Aid, our students, even tell us that they've been having a hard time filling out this form. They haven't even been able to fill it out. They filled it out, but the process to open the form was a bit painful. And, we have obviously the people that just haven't been able to even get started. So I will say, before we even get into any of these topics, even if you haven't filled out the FAFSA, the information, the tips that we will share with you today are still going to be quite helpful and are still going to be beneficial to know in advance so that you are prepared once you are able to complete the FAFSA and you're looking out for these things. All right. So it's important to pay attention to know these things, even if you are not a senior. If you have a student that's a 9th grader, 10th grader, 11th, even in middle school, it's good to know this information ahead of time so that you can prepare and you are aware. So definitely pay lots of attention. Give us a shout out, say hi in the chat. I do see that Lily is saying hi in the Facebook, watching us on YouTube, and David is in the comments section monitoring the chat. If we do have questions that we don't get to answer as we go live, make sure to check out the chat if you did ask something, because chances are that David did get into answering your questions or get to it before we did. We do go over your questions at the end of our show, at the end of the topics that we discuss throughout the show. So definitely ask your questions. I definitely also see you guys on Instagram. I see Andrea Mayor saying that, hi, I'm a Venezuelan student. We also see Krami saying that they're a student from Michigan. Yes, I'm pretty 45 saying I am from Cape Coral. I'm a student. Hello. Apollo ambassador, student ambassadors. IKM40 says, hi, California, I'm a parent. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you so much for commenting. Keep those comments coming. Keep that that chat interactive, because we want to make these live streams as interactive as possible. So definitely, stay active in the chat and ask your questions so we can, be talking to you. It's not just Francisco and I
Right.
talking, but definitely do pay attention to
Yeah.
all the information that we are sharing in these live streams with you guys.
And in the spirit of keeping the positive comments going, I want to give a shout out to our CTO Vidal, who, if you're watching on TikTok or Instagram, and you can see that we are now, changing cameras and adopting this new style of podcasting sort of live stream that we've been incorporating over the last few years. That's been because of those technological improvements and the software that we've been incorporating. So if you like this format, because before we used to do these live streams with a camera and just the regular live stream, but now we have a whole tech system and software that we use to do this. So shout out to Vidal. Thank you for that. And let us know in the comments if you like the style that we've been implementing over the last few weeks. Again, that is if you are someone who has been watching us, who has been watching us over the last few weeks. If this is your first time joining, then welcome. I just wanted to give that shout out. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get started with today's topic. So Laura, do you want to get the ball rolling?
Yes, I definitely want to talk to you guys before we get to the point or to the tips of what to do when the FAFSA is submitted. I do want to address those of you who have been telling us that they've just had issues filling out this form and share some information that we did share last week that might be beneficial to you, that might help you access the form and fill out the FAFSA. So make sure that if you are trying to fill out the FAFSA but you haven't been able to, something that our members told us this past week that worked for them is they're usually Chrome users, but they tried using Safari or Firefox, switching up which platform they use, and they were able to fill out the form and get through. So maybe if you're usually using Chrome and you're just always used it, and these past few days you tried that platform, try to switch it up, use Safari, use Go Duck. Is that what? No.
DuckDuckGo.
DuckDuckGo. Clearly, I don't use that. But also Firefox. You switch it up. Maybe that can be beneficial and that can help you, because it has definitely helped not only members of Best College Aid. I saw that in our TikTok comments. We did see people try that and it did work for them. So that's the first tip. My second tip that I have for you is to have a good internet connection, because a lot of people were trying to fill out the FAFSA on their way to work, maybe in the subway if they were a passenger in the car, or maybe they were at Dunkin' Donuts, they were trying to do it on the phone. Make sure that you're trying to do it in the computer. Make sure you're trying to do it in a place that you're connected to the Wi-Fi, because maybe when you're moving, maybe you're just using your data, you might not be in the best part of town, and might not be where the internet connection is just as secure and as strong as maybe your home or where you work. So definitely make sure that you have strong internet connection, because that could make the difference. And the third tip, and something that we saw a lot of members of Best College Aid said to us, and let us know that actually worked for them, was avoiding peak hours and avoiding trying to logging to their FAFSA website, into their FSA ID, and to fill out this form at times where usually people were trying to also do so. So what times are these? Maybe noon, because that's when a lot of parents are having their lunch breaks and they are getting a break from work, and maybe they're like, okay, let me hop on and try to fill out this form. Maybe after 5, because that's when people usually get out of work, 5, 6, that maybe that 2-3 hour window between 5 and 8 p.m. We did have some people tell us that they logged in at some random, like 11 p.m. Eastern time, 3 p.m. Eastern time, and they were able to access the form. So definitely check periodically throughout the day at random times, because a lot of people told us we were just trying to access it at noon for 3 days straight, and that didn't work. But then we try to access it at 3 p.m. on a random Thursday, and it worked for us. So maybe that could be something that could work for you. So definitely try those things out if you are one of those people who unfortunately hasn't been able to fill out the FAFSA just yet. And again, don't panic. Just because you haven't been able to fill it out, Don't think that you're not going to get the most financial aid possible. Yes, we always say that it's important to fill out the FAFSA as soon as possible, because some colleges do award financial aid on a first come, first served basis, but things are a bit different this year. Clearly, it's not fair that not everyone is having access to this form. So colleges and universities are fully aware of this. Alrighty, so just try to incorporate these tips. Try your best to fill it out, and definitely, try to stay calm as well, because this is something that unfortunately a lot of people are,
Right, right,
experiencing.
right. And you could agree with me on this, Laura. It seems as though the common denominator of all these fixes is the concept of persistence.
Mhm.
Whether that is persisting in trying different browsers, whether that is updating your applications, whether that is Chrome or making sure that your phone is the software is updated, whether that is being persistent about contacting the financial aid award or FAFSA.gov through the website. They have a chat on the bottom right corner, whether that is calling the number that they have for their customer support. All those things kind of go back to the concept of persistence, whether that is avoiding peak hours and then trying again later at night. You shouldn't do one of those things where you try once, you fail, and then wait a few days, wait a few weeks, and then try again, and then say, oh, well, I tried it once and it didn't work, so now I'm quitting forever. No, try it over and over again. If anything, that's going to give you a glimpse into what college is going to be like, because odds are that once your student gets to college, the professors are not going to respond right away. You might have to go to office hours. So if you start getting into the hustle of, okay, you know what, something didn't work out my way, I'm going to keep on trying and persisting, then you are starting your college journey as a student with the best foot forward, because that is likely what you're going to be encountering once you get to college. So yeah, try all those things that Laura said. Make sure that you use the resources that are available through the federal government and their website, and all those help desk, the help center site, and you should be good to go and golden. So that is the first thing that we wanted to talk to you all about, just to make sure that we're on the same page. Because again, if you're one of those students who, there's a lot of them, who has not been able to fill out the form, or a parent who has a student who has not yet been able to go ahead and fill out the form, well, that is something that we wanted to go ahead and cover. So now, what we want to discuss next, Laura, do you want to carry us into the next segment of our conversation? Hopefully, provide value for people.
Yes. So we want to go ahead and start talking about what happens after you fill out the FAFSA. What happens after the form is submitted, and you are either waiting, what are the next steps or the things that are going to be happening, or you should be doing as soon as you click submit and you make sure that all the information is correct. So the first thing that is going to happen is, if you successfully submitted the FAFSA and it was sent, if you or your parents also, signed it and sent it, what's going to happen is that you will receive your SAI, which basically, Francisco, if you want to explain this little change in terminology, what the SAI is.
Right. And this actually goes perfect with one of the Instagram questions that we are getting right now. Can't see the name because, as we discussed last week, both Laura and I are very blind, wearing contacts. And if you ever see us making a face throughout the live stream, is because we're trying to read very small text. But there it is. You're swimming in. Andrea Mayori saying, what is the FAFSA? Well, let's go ahead and get us all on the same page. FAFSA stands for Free Application for Federal Student Aid. A lot of people make the mistake of assuming that the FAFSA is a scholarship, that it is a loan, that it is financial aid itself. When in reality, the FAFSA itself is a form that assesses the family's financial standing. It gathers documentation, it gathers information from the family's tax returns, from other financial documents, and then it paints a picture as to what the family's finances look like. Now, what happens, going back to the conversation that we were having, Laura, what happens after the student fills out the form, or what is one of the biggest differences between previous years and now? Well, prior to the 2023 FAFSA, or the FAFSA that launched in 2023 for the 2024-2025 school cycle, a student would complete it and they would get something called the EFC number. They would get the estimated family contribution number, which was a number amount that basically was meant to represent how much a family could expect to contribute, or was expected to contribute, to the student's education. And then based on that, based on that, different entities, whether that be the federal government, whether that would be the institutions or the colleges that they would be attending, would be able to make decisions on how much financial aid they were going to award the student based on their policies. And as a side note, in Best College Aid, we make sure that students only apply to universities that are very generous once they look at that number and say, okay, well, I'm going to satisfy a bunch of need dependent on this number. But that, I digress. That's a separate subject. What is different now is that instead of calculating for something called the EFC number, now the students will receive, once they fill out the FAFSA, something called the Student Aid Index, the SAI. And it serves the same concept of painting a picture, or having a numerical value represent or have some sort of insights as to what the family's finances look like. But you can think of it now more as sort of like the insurance market, like the marketplace, where it's more derived on the federal poverty line, and it's more derived on, okay, based on this number, let's look at where you live, let's look at the dependents in the household, and that is what goes into the calculation to get the student aid index. Now, once you fill out the form, not only will you get this number, but once you're done with the FAFSA, you will also see your eligibility for different sorts of aid, specifically, or more specifically, the Pell Grant. And you could either get a partial amount, you can receive the full amount. And again, that is all derived on the same logic that one uses when they get their insurance, and they take a look at all these different factors and then assess the family's financial standing. But that is what you can expect right away when it comes to the SAI. So that is number one. Number two, going on as to what happens, or following the train of thought of what happens, Laura, when you fill out the FAFSA, is something that we're going to see starting to happen the last week of January or towards the end of January.
Yes.
That is when the colleges, and again, super important, Laura, one of the biggest priorities. I know that you mention it all the time. I agree with you. We always talk about how making a proper, a prudent, a responsible, a smart list of colleges is essential. Why? Because number one, we believe that there are two pillars to being responsible in this process: making or selecting colleges that satisfy the student's academic needs. Okay, what do I want to study? How do the schools that I want to apply to, or that the student wants to apply to, coincide or align with that vision? Do they offer, engineering degrees? Do they offer pre-med? Do they offer whatever it is that the student wants to study, right? Because a lot of times students, especially when they're, 16, 17, 18, they don't bother, even though it seems like the most simple of things, at looking at the programs offered by the school, and maybe they just go where their friends are going, where their significant others is going, with the schools that, if they're big into, college football, college basketball, the schools that they like, the programs, or that they grew up rooting for, but they don't look at the specific programs of the careers that they want to go on and study for the rest of their lives. And that is where a lot of responsibility happens, and students end up attending a school that doesn't satisfy their academic needs. So assuming that the student puts that research in place, like they do in Best College Aid, that's one of the core pillars that we teach, finding schools that satisfy your academic needs. The other main pillar is only applying to schools that satisfy above a certain percentage of financial need. Yep. And how do they do this? Well, they use the FAFSA. It's an excellent way in which colleges can see the family's financial standing. There is another form, the CSS Profile. We've talked about it in previous months. But what we are going to see in the coming weeks, and the reason why I'm elaborating, or why I'm painting all these context for the people listening to us, Laura, is because in the coming weeks, the federal government is going to take the information that they gather from the FAFSA, and they will be sending it directly to the colleges. So again, the FAFSA will make decisions on federal aid based on this number themselves. But as we've talked extensively, there are different types of aid, or different sources of money for students. There's the federal government, there is the institutions that they will be attending, colleges and universities, there is private aid, and there is state aid. They have different requirements, they have different things that they look at, but for the most part, the FAFSA will be the most cost efficient, or the biggest bang for buck in terms of effort that you have to put into potential rewards. So in the coming weeks, colleges will finally get a look at these numbers, and then they will start. And a lot of people tell us, oh, you talk about like filling out the FAFSA, first come, first serve. That's not necessarily true, blah, 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 blah. Well, what we mean, or one of the biggest things that we mean by that, is the college can literally not make accurate, prudent decisions on your financial situation and offer your financial aid award package if they don't have the necessary information to take a look at your family's finances.
Yep.
So the earlier that you fill it out, the earlier the colleges receive it, the earlier they can make decisions about your situation and then offer you a financial aid award package. And then you can act accordingly. Our students learn in Best College Aid to compare packages, to write an appeal, to go ahead and also apply, if necessary, to private scholarships, to make sure that they're eligible for state aid. But it all derives from doing the proper things at the proper time so that you're as eligible as possible for all the different awards. So that is, or those are the main things that student can expect after they complete the FAFSA. I don't know if I missed anything, Laura, or there is anything that you would like to add on top of that long rant.
Yes. So you mentioned this, that was perfect. The things that are going to be happening. Obviously, the after the FAFSA is submitted, we already mentioned it. You're going to receive your SAI number. You're also going to be hearing, the FAFSA is going to be sent out to colleges, but you also mentioned another form, another financial aid form called CSS Profile. The CSS Profile, after you complete the FAFSA, or maybe you have already completed it, but there's a lot of people who have not completed it if they need to complete it, because this is, you mentioned it, it's a financial aid form that a lot of colleges, not all colleges like the FAFSA, require students to submit in order to award institutional aid. If you completed the FAFSA, or when you complete the FAFSA, or maybe if you can't do it, but you find out, or even if you know that colleges that your student is applying to do require this form, make sure that you are submitting it. As you know, not like unlike the FAFSA, the CSS Profile did open on time. So some schools have had it available since October, but some students, unfortunately, every year they don't look it up, they don't do the research, and they don't even know that they have to submit this form, or they find out too late. So make sure that you check your students' list of colleges, you see which colleges do require this form, and you make sure that you are submitting both forms, basically, because the colleges that do require the CSS Profile, you still will have to submit the FAFSA. So make sure that you're double checking that you are not only CSS Profile, some colleges even require other forms, other additional type of financial aid forms that the student has to fill out or complete or processes. So after filling out the FAFSA, and this might come later on if when the student gets accepted, that you are completing everything in regards financial aid forms, because colleges will require and will ask for it. So don't forget to check if you do have to fill out this form, and to submit it on time and correctly. And
Right.
If you're a member of Best College Aid, remember that you have access to video tutorials which explain step by step everything that you and your student have to do, how to fill out these forms. Francisco, you filmed a step-by-step tutorial on how to fill out the CSS Profile.
Right. So I think this is a perfect time because, again, with this live streams, what we try to do and the whole emphasis of what we try to do is to go ahead and share you whatever is going on right now in the world of college admissions. This is what you should know about it. We have conversations about it. And hopefully, again, my long rants provide you with some sort of insights value and you learn a thing or two about the actionable steps. But every time that we finish this live streams, if you were to go into Best College Aid USA's DMs, you're going to get questions, and we get a bunch of messages from people saying, okay, well, I get that, but what happens with my son who is in 9th grade, or what would happen after I complete that, or blah, 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 blah. So there are questions that are more, related to things outside of what we discuss in these live streams, which again, we go live for close to an hour every week. We try to provide value. But for those of you who are interested in learning or getting access to our Best College Aid mentorship, our program, our full paid program, where we take you step by step through everything as early as middle school, all the way through when you are in college, and in a very structured guide, tell you, okay, this is what you should be doing every month of every year. Well, you can access it right now for a 50% discount. That is in the link in my bio. If you are watching on TikTok, you go to our TikTok bio at Best College Aid USA. If you're watching on Instagram, you go to our Instagram bio and you click on that link. You'll see everything that it includes. You'll see how it works. You'll see all the benefits. You'll see our policies. You'll see the cost. You'll see the 50% off discount. If you're watching on YouTube and Facebook, David, who is monitoring the chat, will go ahead and comment it so that you can access that 50% off discount. But again, we're going to continue to talk about, the FAFSA, what you should be doing, and provide you with the free value, because that is, again, 80% of what we do in Best College Aid is try to educate people and provide that free value and give you the information that will be beneficial to you. But we are aware that people beyond that, sometimes people weren't budgeting for stumbling upon a live stream on a Monday night, and they want to go watch, again, college football, or they want to go feed their kids, or people are tired. So for those of you who are looking for something beyond these random piece of content that we put out, and something more structured and advising that is more personalized to you, that has a proven track record of more than 5 years and thousands upon thousands of students, success stories all the way from students that were not going to go to college and join late into their senior year and then eventually get to college with scholarships, or students who start early and are very ambitious and get to Ivy League level universities. We've had students be accepted to Harvard, UPenn, Yale. We've had students at Stanford, students at Duke, students at UNC Chapel Hill. Like myself, I went to UNC Chapel Hill, so just wanted to do that little quick plug, go Tar Heels. But yes, whatever it is that your goals are, we have had experiences. They can be goals as far that you just want to get to college, or ambitious goals that you want to get to an Ivy League caliber institution. We have had experience with that. So I just wanted to take this chance to go ahead and share that resource for those of you who are interested. And if you're not interested, we're going to continue to have these live streams and continue to provide free value. But for those of you who are looking for something extra or beyond, check out, again, in the link in my bio, 50% off to join Best College Aid, the Best College Aid membership. And if you're watching on YouTube and Facebook, check the comments, because David is going to add that there in the comments. TikTok, Instagram, link in bio at Best College Aid USA.
Yes, David is going to do us a favor of sharing those links in the video descriptions, as you said, for her YouTube and Facebook. And you can access this 50% off on the link in our bio for Instagram and TikTok. Alrighty, so if you're interested in joining Best College Aid, then there you go. Take advantage of this amazing discount. All right, Fran, why don't we go ahead and answer some questions? Because we did get a lot of questions from parents concerned about this whole college FAFSA debacle, because it has been a lot has been happening, and it's only been 8 days into the year. So the world of college admissions has had a very eventful first 8 days to the year. So it's been pretty interesting. So why don't we go ahead and answer some of the questions? My boy says on Instagram, I received the invite to finish the parent part, but when I open my FAFSA account, nothing appears. Any ideas? Alrighty, so this has been an issue that I have been seeing all through social media. Some of our Best College Aid members were having this issue. And it's just either people are submitting part of it and they get to maybe the last question and the website just doesn't let them go through. The website crashes. The best course of action, the best thing that you can do in this particular situation is to maybe, if you wait a day and it hasn't appeared, you say that you got the invite, but it's not appearing in your account. Maybe if you wait a day, 24 hours, and it doesn't appear, definitely call the FAFSA, studentaid.gov. Let them know about your situation. The call volume might be high because a lot of people are having issues, but we have had some members of Best College Aid tell us that they've been successful when trying to get help and trying to contact them via phone, like calling them. So if in a couple of 1 day, 2 days, this issue doesn't get resolved on its own when inviting the parent, because if you did put the right information and if you checked the information was correct and by that I mean the email and all the information that the parent ID was created, then definitely call them and you might be able to get help from them. Alrighty, and that goes for any other issues that you might be experiencing related to page crashing, maybe something being submitted automatically without you having been able to check it. Definitely call them and let them know, because unfortunately this is a problem that a lot of people are seeing.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah.
Um,
Alrighty, I have a question, Fran. I don't know if you want to answer from.
Jackie Medina is asking on Facebook, my son graduates this year. If we are going to fill out the FAFSA, which it shouldn't be an if, it should be and when we fill out the FAFSA. I'll explain why in a little bit. What tax year do we have to use? So number one, let's talk about why you should fill out the FAFSA. A lot of people assume, or a lot of people have this preconceived notion that maybe if I make too much money for college, I should not fill out the FAFSA. It's a waste of time. They're going to get my information. I'm not going to get any aid. There are two reasons why you should still fill it out anyway. So number one, there are other factors other than income that will affect your eligibility to get aid for college. Again, there is a situation as far as like where do you live? There's also, how many dependents are in the household. And again, this methodology can affect other than your income, whether or not you're eligible for need-based aid, because again, there are two reasons why you get money: based on need and based on merit. So let's talk about merit. A lot of people assume that because they hear the word financial aid, so they think that, oh, only people that have financial need get money. Or in reality, whether it's the institution, whether it is a state program, because a lot of states have eligibility requirements to get awards. They could be having above a certain GPA or having above a certain score in the SAT or ACT. But one of the caveats, or one of the requirements for you to be able to receive these funds that are completely based on merit and have nothing to do with your family's financial need, is that you complete the FAFSA. So you want to fill it out anyways. And the worst case scenario, or the worst thing that could happen, is that you don't get any aid, but that you're eligible for more favorable loans. So like college is going to become more expensive for taking the 30 minutes to complete the form. So that is why you should fill it out regardless. Why it makes no sense to not complete it. And then the second part of your question, or going now to addressing your actual question, what tax returns do we have to use? Well, you always want to, when filling out the FAFSA, you always want to look at the year for which you're filling it out. In this case, the 2024-2025 school cycle. You'll take that first number and you subtract 2. So 2024, you subtract 2, that's 2022. That is the fiscal year for which you have to use the documents for. So it would be your 2022 tax returns. And you do that every year that you need to complete the FAFSA. They might ask you for other sort of documents, for other sort of records of your assets, bank statements and whatnot. But for the most part, as far as tax returns, you need 2 years prior. So 2022 in this case, okay?
All right. Excellent question. Thank you so much, Jackie, for your question. We do have a question from Joanne Lucy saying, do you have a guide on how to complete the new FAFSA form? And this question is being asked on Instagram. Again, do you have a guide on how to complete the new FAFSA form? So yes, inside of Best College Aid, we do have a step-by-step tutorial demo on how to complete the new FAFSA, as well as how to complete the CSS profile. Actually, Francisco is the one who completed this tutorial and who takes you on this step-by-step tutorial for the CSS profile, and David does the demo for the FAFSA. Additional to that, our members get access to our private contact, our private email, personal emails, and get access to our Facebook group, which is private just for members, where we're also giving support. And this past few weeks, that Facebook community was very, very popular. It was
more active than normal. Yes.
Yes, it was really, really busy. We were getting a lot of questions, and our DMs were popping, our Instagrams were just popping off, not Instagrams, our emails were popping with all these questions, because it has been such a frustrating situation that, is just affecting almost everybody. There's been those lucky few who just log into the FAFSA website and fill it out, first come, first not first come, but
First try works.
yes,
Yeah.
first try, and they figure it out. I mean, they're able to get in. So it has been a little frustrating for people.
Right. But the one thing that I keep coming back to and that I tell all of our best College Aid members whenever they share their questions, because again, you are going through it. And if you're a parent or a student, this is your reality. And you are thinking, I need to get to college. I need to get the most amount of money possible. So I need to get this done right away. So it's natural to take it very, very, very seriously and to freak out. So the majority of my emails have been lots of exclamation marks, lots of capitalized words, which is perfectly fine. But what I want to reassure you all about is that everyone is having a similar problem. Is not concentrated in one area, is not concentrated in one demographic, is not concentrated for a certain group of people, but rather this is a site problem that is affecting everyone across the board. Not to say that you should sit back and do nothing, but what I am saying is that this kind of levels out the playing field in terms of, okay, who's going to be the most persistent, who's going to keep on trying. And again, as long as you are reasonable with your efforts and you continue to try today, tomorrow, continue to try over the next couple of days. Once you get to the form itself, it's not too complicated. If it is, inside Best College Aid, we do have, as Laura said, a step-by-step tutorial on how to complete it. But the bottom line here is, as long as you're doing what you're supposed to do, which is making sure that that form gets filled out as early as possible, and you keep on trying, and you contact the office when you have questions, you should be good to go. Don't freak out. Again, remember, this is happening to everyone across the board. So hopefully that brings your anxiety levels from 110 to hopefully an 88.
Exactly. So hopefully that question, that answered your question. And yes, we do have a tutorial, we do have resources, and we do have ways to help you all fill out and complete this form. So, alrighty, let's do one more question before we finish today's live stream, because we definitely want to help you out. When can my son fill out the FAFSA? Can you complete it in junior year? Excellent question. The FAFSA needs to be completed for the first time, should be completed senior year of high school, and it does need to be renewed every year after that. So what does that mean? If your student is a senior in high school, they should fill out the FAFSA for the first time, and they should be completing it every year until they graduate. So first year, second year, and third year of college, they should be filling it out. The last year, when they're seniors in college, they don't have to fill it out unless they're doing a master's. But that's completely, something else.
Right. So the acid test, or what you should be asking yourself to very easily determine whether you should be completing out the FAFSA or not, simple. Next academic year, am I going to be in college? Odds are, if you're following the natural progression, when it's your senior year of high school, you ask that question, am I going to be in college next year? Yes, I'm going to be doing my freshman year of college. Am I going to be in college next year? Yes, it's going to be my sophomore year. Sophomore year, you fill it out for junior. Junior year, you fill it out for senior year. And then when you're a senior, you ask yourself, hey, Francisco, am I going to be in college next year? Nope. Ideally, I will have graduated, so I do not have to fill out the form. That is what you do. The other test is, what tax returns do I use? Well, 2 years prior from the academic year that I'm starting, for which the form is for. And you know that you use those tax returns. Those are the two most basic ways to answer those really recurring questions. So hopefully that provides value to you all, and hopefully that clarifies your question. I believe that we got to the bottom of the feed in terms of questions. So I do want to take this final few minutes, number one, to thank you all again, because this truly is the highlight of my week, because I get to interact with people who are excited about the process. Because it's one thing to try to preach and post content to people that are not seeking it out. But if you are watching this and if you are asking questions, it's truly because you are looking for a transformative experience. You truly are looking to learn. And there's nothing more beautiful than teaching someone who is excited about learning. So for that, thank you so much for all of your questions. Hopefully I provided, or we provided, a thing or two through this conversation that we have, bits of information that can be useful to you. So that is point number one. Point number two, for those of you, because every week we have some of y'all that ask these questions. So if you are interested, again, in more of a personalized approach to the advice that we give out that goes beyond these live streams that we do every week, I very much recommend and urge you to check out the link in our Instagram and TikTok bios. You click on our profile, wherever it is, the Best College Aid logo. I don't know where it would be lined up with the live stream. I think top here. You click on that, you go to the URL that is below the emoji that says 50% of discount. And once you click on that, you will see everything that Best College Aid includes. You will see our policies. You will see how much it costs. You will see the 50% of discount already applied. And that is for those of you who are interested in getting more personalized supports. If you are watching on YouTube and Facebook, it is in the description of this video, or David might have already dropped it in the chat. Okay, so just wanted to remind you all in case you're looking for that. If you're not looking for that and you just want to spend this time with Laura and with me, I don't blame you. I would also want to spend my Monday evening with Laura and me listening about information regarding the FAFSA. There's nothing like it. So thank you so much for accompanying us and for sharing this time with us. We will see you either next week on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube, or we will see you inside the Best College Aid platform. All right?
All right. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. I hope that you have an excellent week. I hope that everybody that's having issues stops having issues. It's going to get resolved. It has to get resolved. Maybe it might not get resolved in the next couple of days, but it has to, because there's so many people who are graduating.
That was beautiful. I also hope everyone that is having issues stops having issues. Just in general, in life.
Yes, beautiful, beautiful wordplay there from me. Alrighty, guys, thank you so much for joining. Like this video, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and share it with somebody who might need to learn information like this. We will see you next time. Have a wonderful night.
And love one another.
Yes. Bye.